What you need in the building? How's everybody doing? I'm What You Need. Watching my channel. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget you can like, you can share, you can subscribe, and you can also donate to this channel. This channel does not get any money from YouTube or from Google. Okay, I'm in a part of the world where I get paid when you guys donate to my channel. If you want to jump on this stream as a guest, you can also do so. So feel free to do so. And we're talking today about righting the wrongs. We're going to talk a bit about what Samuel Lewkowicz said on TBV, that is the Boxing Voice, which I just want to elaborate on this because I think this is good news to hear from Samson Lewkowicz. So that would be awesome. I can't go, What You Need cannot go without giving praise to the Most High God. The Most High God always comes first. And everything that I do and say, the Most High God comes first. So I want to just give all praise to the Most High God before I continue on. I always do this, especially with my first video of the day. Those people who have an issue with it, I saw somebody had an issue with me saying that because I think I said something about PayPal right after. Listen, those people who don't, if you don't acknowledge the Most High, that's on you. Me, I'm a follower of the Most High. So I'm going to always acknowledge the Most High first. Those of you who have an issue with that, I really couldn't care less, okay? Because that is my source of strength. This is which I live in. So if you have a problem with that, you can have a problem with that. I don't, okay? And I'm doing an honest business. I am not doing anything wrong. So if I say I want donations from PayPal from you guys, that's what I do, okay? This is my business, okay? So if you have a problem with my business being under the Most High, that's on you. Okay, keeping it moving. I'm going to play something for you guys. Hopefully you guys can hear it. I think you will be able to hear it. It's on my phone. This is Samson Lewkowicz, who is the promoter of Fundora and several other fighters, including David Benavidez. Here he is speaking to.
But anyway, listen, it was a wonderful. The only thing, as well, I can say something that I was very emotional at the press conference, and I say that the rematch, it was verbal. Whoever, I want to say this verbal, I will honor. So I forgot that word, that I will honor the rematch with Tszyu because he deserved it. He's a warrior. We have some kind of misunderstanding before the fight, but I give him all the credit. He deserved it, and he deserved a rematch. So that is in the play.
Now, when you say that's in the play, are you saying that you're changing the direction and it's no longer Earl Spence, or are you saying after Earl Spence, then you're going to give Tszyu the rematch?
I believe in this particular point, after, that you relax, you think about it, I believe the best way will be the rematch. And because it's well-deserved. Not only, look, everybody won that time. Both fighters won the heart of defense. We show the courage of either one leading. The TV, which is prime video, probably the best of the past decade, how competitive it was every fight and how full action was. So I believe the people deserve the rematch. However, I don't know if we need to go to surgery. Fundora, for a nose, probably in this moment or in a few hours, he'll be with the doctors to see that everything is fine. So most likely it will not be any fight for Sebastian till early November. So that is another question that you cannot put it immediately in 3 months or 4 months back in the gym. And nobody can see back in the fight because Sebastian probably next week start to move, but depending on the nose.
So where does that leave you with the WBO organization, who claims to have sent letters to both sides ordering Fundora and Crawford mandatory next? It is claimed you have 20 days to negotiate and 180 days to put on the fight.
We received the letter this morning. I wake up this morning and I have it.
Okay, so let me get into this. So, Mr. Samson Lewkowicz speaks on what they're going to do next. And he's saying that he's going to honor the verbal agreement that was made with Tszyu's camp concerning Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora in that they will have a rematch. So that's the next thing on the cards, according to Samuel Lewkowicz. He's saying the rematch can't happen immediately, as we all know, Fundora broke his nose, and Tszyu obviously has that nasty gash on his head that needs to heal up. Now, honestly speaking, the broken nose and the heal up top of the head, those take about a couple weeks to a month or two to heal. So those guys will heal up pretty relatively quickly, especially if they're healthy individuals. It should heal up and they should be fine. However, and they should begin training within a month to 2 months, or they'll be training. They could be even training even with the injuries. Just be doing different things instead of maybe sparring or whatever. But what I will say to you is this. What he said about Fundora probably fighting at the end of the year means that the mandatory the activation of the mandatory clause by Crawford through the WBO, that will not be honored next, based on the amount of days they're trying to give Fundora to be able to make an agreement with Crawford to go to purse bid or whatever needs to be done. Because Crawford wants to have an immediate shot at the world title. But as most fans out there are saying, including myself, we think that there's unresolved issues between Fundora and Tszyu. And so to hear Samson Lewkowicz speaking to that, realizing that the fans love this fight, and this was a fight, as Samson Lewkowicz said, Tszyu actually, instead of being, oh well, you don't hear this, but it's in the TBV podcast, which I would suggest to you guys you check it out. I should put the interview link in the chat. I will try to do that as we proceed so that you guys can actually go and watch the actual thing. But all you guys have to do is go to the Boxing Voice right now, and you will see the interview with Samuel Lewkowicz with TBV. So you just have to type it in. But he went on to say other champions probably the fight would have been stopped. They would said they couldn't see through their eyes. But he really congratulates Tszyu on what was an incredible effort on his part to fight through the fact that he couldn't see properly. And your eyes are everything in boxing. Well, mostly everything in boxing. And he fought through that to actually, have a very, very competitive fight, in spite of the fact that he was handicapped. He couldn't see properly at all. And he fought through it. They gave such an exciting fight. He said this was one of the most exciting fights in years, in boxing, and probably the most exciting card in boxing history. And he's right in the sense that I thought the card was entirely lit. I mean, and Tszyu didn't let anybody down. There was no anticlimactic moment like the fight needed to be stopped. Tszyu let the show go on. Tszyu really carried the show. And I'm so happy that Samson Lewkowicz is saying he deserves a rematch, which we all believe. I mean, 62% of on average in every poll, 62% people think he needs to run it back with Fundora. So I'm so happy that I hear Samson Lewkowicz saying that this is the thing that's most important. For once, boxing is doing things right and in the right way. There's more that Samson Lewkowicz speaks in terms of Crawford. And I could actually play the snippet out of the TBV podcast, but I prefer you guys go and listen to it yourself. But he went on to say something that I really agree with. I agree with most of what Samson Lewkowicz is saying here on this TBV podcast. Now, I'm not really interested in what Crawford would want for these fights, the prices he would want for the fights. I'm not really interested in that. What he said was how Canelo is not giving David Benavidez his chance. It's the same way how he feels Crawford is not giving Jerome Ennis his chance. Remember, Crawford still is holding at this present moment. He has not vacated He's still holding the WBC title, the WBA title, and the WBO titles at welterweight. And it is the view not only of, I believe it's the view not only of Samson Lewkowicz, but I think it's a sentiment throughout the PBC. It's not just a sentiment of Floyd Mayweather, but it's a sentiment of the PBC that Crawford should give Jerome Ennis that shot at the remaining belts to become undisputed. This is another undisputed fight Crawford can have, and for some reason, Crawford believes that that fight is not going to be worth his time and money. He's saying he wants big fights, but that's a big fight right there. In fact, if you argue the only fight I think that would be bigger, and I don't think Crawford's going to get that fight, is Crawford versus Charlo. But we recently heard that Charlo had some sort of seizure recently there, and he's recovered from the seizure, but that's not very good news. So Charlo doesn't look like he's going to be in boxing for a minute, which means the biggest fight that Terrence Crawford could have between 154 and 147 is either a rematch with Errol Spence Jr. or a fight against Jerome Boots Ennis. That's the biggest money-making fights that Crawford can have around his weight. Okay? Whether he wants to have that fight with Boots at 154 or whether he wants to have that fight with Boots at 147 for all the belts, for undisputed, that's the fight he should be fighting. I don't understand why Crawford is, and Samuel Lewkowicz spoke to this. Canelo's not giving David Benavidez the shot. In fact, recently in an interview, Canelo Alvarez said he's not facing David Benavidez, but he's looking for that rematch with Demetrius Bivol. Okay, but we all know David Benavidez also is lining up himself to face Bivol, especially if Bivol beats Artur Beterbiev. And, there's a lot of discussion on this. By the way, shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV for breaking this information. Even though this was an old interview, but he just recently today, Blue Blood Sports TV was talking about this. And quite frankly, when you look at Canelo versus Bivol, Bivol, as I've shown you guys, has dominated every single opponent. According to Blue Blood Sports TV, Bivol has in his last 5 fights lost only 3 rounds. Okay? Dominates his opponents. And I'm going to say this to RJ Jenkins again so that he can hear me. You don't have a fighter doing that to anybody else. Nobody else is doing that. Okay? Telling me about the damage that Beterbiev do. I'm telling you, Bivol gonna make him look like he's an amateur when he gets in the ring with Bivol. And remember, Bivol's a small guy. He's smaller than almost every fighter that he has faced, except for Canelo. Think about that. Okay, he's not stopping these guys, but he's completely outclassing these guys. Completely. He's hitting them at will, however he wants to hit them, and they're not touching him. Okay, and I'm telling you right now, same thing's going to happen to Artur Beterbiev. But getting to the point of what I'm saying, so you guys understand what I'm saying, I am telling you guys, without a shadow of a doubt, that what Samuel Lewkowicz is doing by honoring the agreement to face Tim Tszyu in a rematch is something that Terrence Crawford should give the young buck. Now they're kind of obligated to do so, sort of like, in terms of contractually because of the verbal agreement, but they could have moved on. But I like that Samuel Lewkowicz is speaking about honoring the rematch with Tim Tszyu. Not no Errol Spence fight like PBC's trying to do to push Tim Tszyu under the bridge, to isolate Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford has to make way. Even though he's activated his mandatory clause, he should make way for a rematch because guess what? He had to wait on Errol Spence for that rematch. And Errol Spence has business with Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence shouldn't be going around trying to make fights with other people when he has unfinished business with Terrence Crawford. The only way I see Terrence Crawford getting away from facing Jerome Ennis is if he's going to face Errol Spence. They're going to make that rematch a reality. Okay? Without the belts. Or with the belts. It depends if Errol wants to do it at 147 or 154. But Crawford is holding the 147 division hostage, and people who should be world champion right now are not world champion because he's holding the 147 division hostage. If you're holding on to the belts at 147, then go back down to 147 and face Jerome Boots Ennis. Otherwise, move up to 154 and fight somebody at 154. Vacate your titles. If Errol Spence is good enough to face Fundora, he's probably good enough to face you. So have a rematch with Errol Spence and then move on. That's the biggest fight you're going to get at 154. It's against Errol Spence. Okay? So if Terrence Crawford does not want to face Jerome Boots Ennis, which is a hard fight for him, let's not kid ourselves. It's a harder fight than facing Errol Spence. Okay? It's probably the toughest fight he'll have between 147 and 154, even 160. All right? That's the toughest fight he's going to have. So he doesn't want that tough fight. He wants to get paid. He wants to get paid commensurate to the toughness of the fight. He wants to get Errol Spence numbers for Jerome Boots Ennis fight. And that's not going to happen. Or maybe it will. Who knows? It is the best matchup between, of any division from 147 all the way up to 160. That's the best matchup out there. Right? Terrence Crawford versus Jerome Boots Ennis is probably the best matchup out there. Terrence thinks it's not enough money in that fight. The risk is not worth the reward. But to be honest with you, I think it is. And I think once PBC does a great job of hyping it up, if Boots is, first of all, if Boots is actually with PBC, I don't know if he's with PBC to start with, but that would be a tremendous, tremendous fight. But you have to start building it now. You have to start building it now and have it somewhere around December, as far to the end of the year as possible, as a mega clash. Boots versus Crawford. You have to build that fight. And that would be a tremendous fight. And a fight Crawford could win. At this point in time, it would be a fight that Crawford could win at this point in time. So why not go ahead and have that fight? But yeah, Samuel Lewkowicz spoke on who Crawford should face next. Of course, he's not the promoter. He has nothing to do with Crawford, but he just suggests that. And I think that's the sentiment of PBC. That's the sentiment of Floyd Mayweather. That was the point Floyd Mayweather was making. Why are you going all the way up to 168 when you have competition, fierce competition right there at 147? Why don't you give the young buck a chance? Right? And seeing that Canelo's not giving David Benavidez a chance, you know what I mean? He's not giving him a chance at all. Show that you was cut from a different cloth, Crawford. Show Crawford that you are willing to give young bucks a chance at you. But you're not. You if it was somebody else, you're done already going against them. You know Jerome Ennis is not easy work. You know this. You know it'd be a hell of a fight. And you know he's a young buck. So I think Crawford is not taking the Jerome Boots. If it was anybody else, Mario Barrios or one of those guys, he done already take the fight to stay active, he would have said. He'd have done already take that fight. But these guys know. Remember, they're professionals, and this is a professional. They know when when a guy is a tough fight. They know when it's a tough fight. Okay? Boots knows, and Terrence knows that's a tough fight. But are the best going to face the best? This is the question. This is the question. Boots ain't afraid to lose. So why is Crawford afraid to lose? Because the stock will go down? How? Your legacy's set. How much money are you really making? It's a question you have to ask. So, I got one more thing I got to talk to you guys about, and then I'm out of here. All right. I don't want to belabor the point. With respect to Errol Spence, they were arguing, Errol probably brings in more money than Crawford, and Crawford don't have the personality and blah, blah. Listen, I've said this before. I don't say it again. If you have a Crawford versus Fundora fight versus an Errol Spence versus Fundora fight, I don't care if you have it in Vegas. I don't care if you have it in Texas. I don't care where you have it. What people love about Crawford is how he fights. Bottom line. Just like how Pitbull Cruz right now is a star, and everybody's talking about Pitbull Cruz and who he would face at 140. It's the same thing with Crawford. Crawford's dominant. Boxers are afraid to face Crawford. Once you say Crawford, a boxer will second guess themselves. All right. He is something right now. And he got the pound for pound status. And I'm telling you right now, he's the money man when it comes to anybody between 160 and 147. Crawford's the guy that has the money. He's the guy. I'm surprised guys still second guessing facing him, because you're going to get paid to face Crawford. Crawford's not one of them guys you're not going to get paid with now. He's taking Errol Spence fans. I said this first, and then I heard Aki Sports TV echoing my sentiments. And it's true. He's going to take your fans from you because he's whooped your ass in a spectacular fashion. Errol Spence still could fill up Cowboy Stadium. Nobody's saying no. But when it comes to, and the pay-per-view for Crawford versus Errol, if I'm not mistaken, was 700,000 to 800,000. Ain't nobody else last year was making that kind of pay-per-view except for Tank. Tank was the one that crossed up, I believe it was a million pay-per-view buys. Nobody else was doing it, not even Canelo. Haney's a hype job says. That's why Bill Haney declined a meeting to negotiate a fight with Mateus. Haney has 0 KO since 2019, 90 rounds without a KO. Most of his KOs are in Mexico. Haney's first 19 opponents are 114 and 149. I don't know why this brother's coming to you. Bro, we talking about a totally different topic, and you were way off topic right now. I don't even know why you talking about this. Look at the stream. You're on the wrong stream. The stream before where I was talking about Mateus and his matchups and everything. That stream is where you need to go, troll. You on the wrong stream. First of all, who has Dimitri Bivol knocked out in the last 3 years? Nobody. That don't mean that Bivol is not a feared fighter. How many rounds has Devin Haney lost in his last 5 fights? How many rounds has he lost? How many rounds has Bivol lost in his last 5 fights? I mean, you're talking like if Devin Haney ain't dominating all his opponents. The only opponent people say he didn't dominate was Lomachenko. Everybody else he's dominated, buddy. Dominated. You on the wrong stream, first of all. You answering something you just went left field with that. We are talking about Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Sebastian Fundora right now. We're not talking about that. So you come out of left field. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to insult anybody. You came out of left field. I'm going to still engage you, but I mean, you left field with that. It ain't about how many people you knocked out, homie. It's not about that. This is boxing. This is not knockouts for life. It's not strongman contest. I keep on saying this over and over. Y'all don't get it. Y'all just don't get it. Y'all think it's all about knockouts. Y'all always think y'all don't talk boxing. Y'all don't talk boxing. I see you a troll. That's cool, though. You building the fight for Mateus versus Haney. So that when Haney comes through and beats Mateus, You know, or let's say Mateus beats Haney. Who knows? It's boxing. I did not expect Tszyu to run into Fundora's elbow and Fundora have a competitive fight with Tszyu after that because Tszyu couldn't see. So you never know what could happen in boxing. You know what I'm saying? To be real. I see you trolling though. You really trolling hard. But what you have to understand is that what you need, you know, he not into the fandom stuff. You know what I mean? Y'all fans try to present something to argue your case. I'm about the truth. And it's easy to check y'all. And the troll just keeps on trolling. Right. So back to the topic at hand. I'm gonna ignore this troll for a minute and then I'm gonna come back and address him and then I'm gonna get out of here, okay? Because I gotta go work. But suffice it to say that when it comes to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, there's a lot Terrence Crawford brings to the table now, you know, after that Errol Spence fight. And so it's very premature for Samson Lewkowicz to say that, you know, Terrence doesn't bring money. You don't know. He hasn't had a fight post Errol Spence to see what the ticket sales look like, what his pay-per-view would be, because that was a decent pay-per-view with Errol Spence, and the ticket sales were off the charts for that fight. And I'm just saying, any big fight, I'm gonna tell you this, even though Jerome Ennis hasn't faced anybody of substantial ilk, a Terrence Crawford versus Jerome Ennis fight, I think is going to be the highest grossing fight. In fact, it might even be higher grossing than Errol Spence because Jerome Ennis is a new guy. We've seen Terrence beat Errol Spence. We haven't seen Terrence beat Jerome Ennis. Jerome Ennis is fresh. He's young. I mean, if they hype up that fight, if they build that fight, it might be the highest grossing fight out of all the fights that possibly could happen with Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford got that cachet. Everybody knows Terrence Crawford's name now. You know, he's becoming mainstream. He's still not fully mainstream, but he's becoming mainstream. His name has buzz in boxing. So Terrence Crawford versus Jerome Ennis might actually rake in more than if they play their cards right, if they do the pay-per-view correctly, if they start building a fight now, that could be a bigger fight than especially if it's for undisputed again. Because they stripped. Now, I don't agree with what the IBF did where they stripped Terrence Crawford, you know, and according to Samson Lewkowicz, Louis DeCuba, he's going to be going in there to try and negotiate something so everybody's happy. So Terrence Crawford's happy. So you know, the Fundora camp is happy so that Tszyu is happy. So hopefully Louis DeCuba can negotiate something, you know, because Samson Lewkowicz, again, he kind of have a bias against Terrence Crawford. He's talking about Crawford outbidding himself, talking about $15 million. But you do understand, under Top Rank, Terrence was getting like $20 million a fight. All right, Terrence Crawford's used to getting paid. You know, because Fundora is not as big a name, he's talking about $15 million, which is actually cutting off a lot of what he normally get just to get that Fundora fight. So you got to understand, Terrence Crawford is a guy who's been paid properly, and he expects to be paid properly because he sees himself as a superstar. He's not exactly a superstar, but after that Errol Spence fight, he is up there in superstar status. And so they think that Crawford's always overpricing himself, but no, that's his value. I mean, you can't be mad at the man for that. You know what I'm saying? You know, if Errol was to face Fundora, Errol would be asking for those kinds of numbers. So Errol deserves those kinds of numbers, but Terrence don't. I mean, we have to be real with this thing. And I think that Terrence Crawford, is a great fighter, and he deserves to be compensated accordingly. But I would say this. I would say that if he fights Boots Ennis, he gonna get that kind of money. If he fights Errol Spence, he gonna get that kind of money. You know what I mean? A rematch with Errol Spence, he'll get the money he's looking for. If he's fighting Boots Ennis, he'll get the money he's looking for. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. I think those are the only two fights. And no matter what PBC says or how they try to arrange to get him paid, And then again, the Saudis might take it up. You know what I'm saying? The Saudis might take up a fight like that. Boots Ennis versus, Terrence Crawford. The Saudis might look at that and say, that's a hell of a fight. We want that fight. Now, the only thing is, I know that Terrence is kind of bulking up for these fights. So, he probably more a 154 pounder now than he's a 147 pounder because I'm sure he transitioned in size. And therein may lie the problem that Terrence may fight Boots, but not for a world championship. He may, so Boots' credit will be, I fought the last undisputed welterweight champion and I beat him. If Boots was to get the win, of course, Terrence Crawford would have fought a very good fighter who probably would go on to become a future Hall of Famer. So one way or the other, it would be very nice if Terrence Crawford was to oblige Jerome Boots. And Boots is a big welterweight anyway, and he's tall and everything. So I would love to see that fight. That's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a big challenge for Terrence Crawford because Boots can do all kinds of things. And don't get it twisted. That last fight he had with the guy that he had to go chasing down and stuff, he can learn from that. He going to adapt and work around that situation. All right, let me go address these trolls real quick. So, homie started a troll, so we're going to answer him. Let's go. Haney's a hype job is the troll guy. Unconventional pressure fighter with compact, accurate, high volume punching and a lethal power jab is always going to be a problem for a slick boxer with no power. All right, so this is a general statement, and I'm gonna just answer it. So first thing you're doing is you're generalizing, as if you're generalizing. You know what I'm saying? First of all, unconventional pressure fighter with compact, accurate, high volume punching. Most pressure fighters have a high volume, so there's nothing unconventional about that. Mateus is nothing. There's nothing unconventional about Mateus. He's very conventional. He's very predictable. He stand right in front of you and he walk you down. The thing that makes Mateus something is his will to win. He take punishment to dish out punishment. That's the way how he work. He'll still block some shots. He's trying to feel all the shots on his gloves and stuff. And he's coming at you. Does he have any exceptional power? Not really. He got what we call thudding power. His shots are thudding, right? He don't have that snap. He don't have that whip power. He don't have that speed power. He's not really a power puncher that's speed. He do damage by punching with he's got high bone density, so he thud. So that's how he break bones and shit like that. And he has a power jab. I wouldn't say he has a power jab. What I like about him is he can jab from either stance. So he can go orthodox or he can go southpaw. He switch it up. He shifts. It's always a problem for a slick boxer with no power. I don't know what you're talking about. If Devin Haney ain't got no power, how he drop Regis Prograis? How you drop Regis Prograis if you ain't got no power? That's the same thing Regis Prograis said, by the way. So if you were to go into the fight with Devin Haney thinking that shit, he'll knock you out. Because y'all don't know, Devin Haney knocked out a guy with one punch when he was at lightweight. He also broke another guy's eye orbital. I don't know how you guys don't know this. Devin Haney has power. If you don't know that, well, brah, you're going to have a reality check. Okay, he broke another guy's orbital. I think it was when he was fighting for the interim championship. He dropped another guy early in the fight, and then he damaged his rotator cuff trying to knock the guy out. Devin Haney has power. I don't know who told you Devin Haney don't have power. Okay? He has power. And against Super Mateus, oh, man, that's going to be an ugly fight. Ugly fight. Devin Haney going to be piecing them up, and Mateus going to be looking for Devin Haney. As Mateus himself admitted, Devin Haney's a runner, meaning he don't know how to hit him. He don't know how to touch him. It's not that Devin Haney runs. I demonstrate. I'm in the orthodox stance. So I'm in the orthodox stance here. I'm going to show you how easy it is to not stay in front of a guy and still at the same time be whooping his ass. Okay? I'm not right in front of you, but I'm somewhere in the vicinity of you. You're not going to be able to hit me. I'm an orthodox fighter. You're an orthodox fighter. I'm an orthodox fighter. You're an orthodox fighter. All right? This is my jab. This is going to be your jab. All right? That's your right hand right there. Okay? I just step around you. Step around you. Slip to the side. Just stepping around a guy. Step around him. Going weak side. Countering. Step around him. Going weak side. The ring could be small as this room. I can whoop your ass. If we get body to body, I'm still stepping around you. AKA J. Rock Williams versus what's the masterclass on the inside with J. Rock Williams versus Jarrett Hurd. Y'all don't understand fucking boxing. I hate having to explain myself to y'all. All the greats did it. James Toney, step around you. Small pivots. Step around you. It's all about stepping around the guy to get the advantage on him. He can't hit me. When I step around you, you can't hit me. You have to find me. Y'all don't know no boxing. All y'all know is this. That's all y'all know. So when y'all talk about boxing, you think a guy has to run. He got to run to not get hit. Y'all don't know boxing. And by the way, that was bouncing. That was bouncing. I was bouncing around. You don't have to bounce around. You don't have to have excessive movement. Go watch Mikey Garcia. Y'all need to study boxing. Go watch Mikey Garcia box. So, Cyril Mateus needs two things. He needs you to stand in front of him, and he got to set his feet to throw. That's Cyril Mateus. Okay? He got a plant to throw. So if you keep a boxer out, if you keep a boxer off balance, y'all don't understand boxing. I realize this. I keep saying it over and over. I hate saying this because it makes y'all feel like y'all inferior. And I'm the master at this thing. I'm not a master at anything. It's just common sense. I'm going to tell you right now, Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, they look at Cyril Mateus as food. You heard Devin Haney say, the man only got a good left hook. He said it to y'all that Ryan Garcia only got a good left hook. He knows what he's saying. It's not that he is ignoring Ryan Garcia's right hand. It's not that he's ignoring Cyril Mateus' combinations, but he knows Cyril Mateus' punctuation is his left hook. That's where he put all his leverage in. He's saying Ryan Garcia's most effective punch in almost every fight is a check left hook or a left hook to the body or head. He's telling you what the man's money punch is. And he's telling you, they're never going to hit me with that shot. Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar couldn't throw a left hook for shit and land. Floyd took away his left hook. Not only did he take away his left hook, he took away his jab. Oscar was known for a jab. Oscar's greatest punches in all of his fights was his jab and his left hook. And Floyd disarmed those two things. He neutralized it. What do you think Devin Haney's all about? What do you think these high-level boxers are all about? They neutralize you. They take away what you're known for, your best attributes, and use them back against you. So I would take Haney's a hype job. I'm going to use him to teach boxing to those of you who are obsessed with power, who are obsessed with tough guy things, who are obsessed with a guy. Don't get me wrong. It's exciting fights. For me, Subriel Mateus is boring. You know why he's boring? I like him as a fighter, but he's boring because he only do the same thing over and over again. He ain't got no defense. He ain't got no defense. And if you ain't got no defense, it don't matter how tough you are. You're going to lose a fight against a guy who is continuously poking holes in your defense. All he got to do is go 12 rounds. And if he's well-conditioned, he's going to go 12 rounds, and he's going to exploit you, and you're not going to catch him. You're not going to catch him because he's too slow. You flat-footed. Secondly, you don't pivot. You don't know how to pivot. You don't know what a pivot is. You don't know how to do pivots right. He always going to be a step ahead of you, especially if his feet are quicker than yours. He always going to be a step ahead of you. So whole night you chasing down a guy, you try to cut off the ring on a guy that you can't cut off the ring on. Unless he indulges you and decides to go toe-to-toe with you so he can get knocked out. Y'all don't understand boxing. Y'all don't. Y'all wouldn't be saying this stupidness to me. You wouldn't say this stupidness to me. You would understand what boxing really is. Y'all wouldn't get caught up in a guy's power and his strength. Artur Beterbiev, he can't keep up with Bivol. He can't. He can't. Bivol know too much boxing. Something literally had to happen to Bivol's feet. And even then, he still beats Beterbiev. He knows too much boxing. Like, boxing's not something. Charlie Burley said it best. There is no luck and chance in boxing. Not for the elite fighter. Boxing's about control. The really great ones control their opponents. And I told you, boxing's not just about throwing punches and moving your feet. I'm going to show you one example again. I'm in the orthodox stance. My opponent is an orthodox fighter. Not speaking about southpaw to orthodox. I'm not talking about orthodox to southpaw. Orthodox to orthodox. Meaning, my opponent's jab is on this side of my body, and his right hand is on this side of my body. I want my opponent to walk into my right hand. I want him to walk into my right hand. I take half step back. I throw a jab. The jab is a bait. I want my opponent to walk into my hand. My opponent is going to jab. He's going to step and jab. When he does, I'm going to slip to the outside of his jab that's coming to me here, and I'm going to come over the top, taking my head and dropping my head low, and I'm going to catch him with a shot to his head. Or if I want to, instead of doing that, I can come under and drop a right underneath here to his body and pivot out. Okay? It's called bait and counter. Okay? That's a basic bait and counter. So when you see, y'all have to understand boxing. Y'all don't understand boxing. When a guy's taking a half step back, right? And he's inching back, and the opponent is coming to him. Inching back, coming back, inching back. He's doing that to set him up. He's setting him up for a trap. It's called trap setting. Now, some fighters, they're going backwards and they leaping back, like how Shakur leaped back against Edwin De Los Santos. He leaped back for two reasons. One, he wasn't planning to engage Edwin De Los Santos. That's why he leaped back so far. And two, is because Edwin De Los Santos is so quick at covering distance, he needed to see what was happening. So he needed good enough distance to be able to see Edwin coming in. Because Edwin is very quick. Edwin is a southpaw like myself. And Edwin, he would double up his jab. He would come like this. Pop, pop. He can do a double jab. And he do it very quickly. Right? Closing distance. Pop, pop. Now notice, I start up over here, but I'm over here by the time. You know why? I'm not coming in a straight line. I'm coming in off an angle. Pop, pop. It's off an angle. It's off an angle. That's boxing. Edwin wasn't coming down a straight line. If you're coming down a straight line, then Shakur could come off the line and counter him. Edwin wasn't coming in straight lines. See, that's boxing. But y'all don't know about boxing like that. Why is Edwin De Los Santos coming off an angle instead of down straight lines? Because if he comes down a straight line, Shakur can slip off the line and counter him with a left. We're talking orthodox versus southpaw. Wait a minute. Was Edwin a southpaw? I think it was southpaw versus southpaw. So it was a little bit different. Sorry, my bad. Okay? Boxing's a sport that y'all need to understand. And I could see that a lot of y'all don't understand the sport. So you don't really know what's going on in there. And so you started giving me these general things which do not apply to elite fighters. It don't apply. Shakur does this as an elite fighter, which is wrong. You don't go straight back. You don't move that. That's a mistake Shakur makes all the time, which is why if a fighter really know what he's doing, you double jab and then you come in with a leaping left hook. If you're a southpaw like him, you come in off a leaping left hook. You catch him because he's moving along a straight line. It reminds me of Julio Cesar Chavez, even though these were two orthodox fighters, versus Roger Mayweather. Roger Mayweather was pulling back along the ropes. Julio Cesar Chavez, he galloped in. He what we call skipped. He skipped in, kind of like Sean Porter skipped in on Adrian Broder. So he went boom, boom, right? And then he threw that leaping left hook. Right? He skipped in. Deontay Wilder versus what's his name? I forgot the guy. Where he landed the right hand. I forgot what the guy's name is. It'll come to me. Dominic Brazil skipped in off the break. 1-2. And then that big right hand. First, he put the jab to measure him, and then he came over the top with the right hand. Because when you're skipping in, I think another person who does that is Manny Pacquiao. He'll skip in. When you skip in, you cover ground much faster. And two, even though you're off the ground a bit, your opponent usually don't expect that. So Julio Cesar Chavez, he was able to catch Roger Mayweather skipping in and then throwing that left hook. He caught Roger flush on the jaw, right? And when you're leaping in or skipping in, like a leaping left hook, etc., you're covering a lot of ground really fast. You have to be explosive to do that, though. So Shakur Stevenson, I'm going to say this to Shakur. Shakur, you got to stop pulling straight back. Because as far, you might think you far enough away from your opponent when you leap back, but if a man is skipping in on your ass, or he throws a double jab and then he skips in, or he leaps in with a left hook, he'll catch you. Or in the case of Edwin De Los Santos, he might catch you with a right hook, leaping in. As you try to pivot out, you might try to pivot out after that, and you might get caught, just like Chris Algieri was caught with a left hand. Pacquiao caught him with a left hand as he tried to pivot out, right? He catch you. They catch you with that shot. Y'all have to be able to see boxing and see what boxing is about. I think a lot of y'all don't see boxing. Y'all don't have the eye for it. Mateus' style is all around for Haley. Haney gets beat worse than Dadashev. Bruh, you're going to compare Devin Haney to Maxim Dadashev. You're going to compare Devin Haney to a European fighter who stands in front of the other guy and fights him toe-to-toe for 12 rounds and get killed. You serious? Devin Haney. Bruh, the opposite is true. Mateus kills Haney. Haney can't even stop a 30-year-old Gamboa. Dude hits like a lesbian. And Haney weighs at 160 pounds, can't even hurt 126-pounder fighters. Again, you're just talking like a fan right there. I mean, I don't even take that seriously. I mean, who has stopped Gamboa? When has Gamboa ever been an easy fight for anybody? Let's see. Pitbull Cruz versus Yuriorkis Gamboa. And Yuriorkis Gamboa is like 1 million years old now. Pitbull Cruz, who's very, very vicious. Very vicious fighter. Isaac Cruz got Diego Magdalena out in the first round. He beat Francisco Vargas, lost to Gervonta Davis. Took 5 rounds to get Yuriorkis Gamboa out of there. And this is a really spent Yuriorkis Gamboa. This is an old-ass Yuriorkis Gamboa. Took Tank 12 rounds to get Yuriorkis Gamboa out of there. Notoriously difficult fighter. Okay? So, and Gamboa knows how to clinch. He knows how to survive. And Devin Haney couldn't knock out Gamboa because he was clinching like a mother in this fight with him. Right? So, who else has ever stopped Gamboa? Terrence Crawford and some guy named Robinson Castellanos. Gamboa hasn't been stopped. Gamboa has been stopped by Terrence Crawford, Robinson Castellanos, and Gervonta Davis, and now Isaac Cruz. Only 4 people ever stopped Gamboa in his entire career of 35 fights. What are you talking about? And the thing with Gamboa, even with the Isaac Cruz fight, Gamboa keeps on getting up, back up. Even in the 12th round when Tank knocked him down for the umpteenth time, he got back up. Gamboa don't stay down. You know what I mean? Gamboa is a guy that gets dropped, but he gets back up. Every single fight, including the fight against Terrence Crawford, he got back up. Haney is free to the left hook when he throws his right hand to the body. Haney won't be able to handle Mateus for 12 rounds. Be the end of his career. Mateus beats Haney worse than Crawford. Well, trust me, man. We're going to get Haney versus Mateus if Mateus stays champion. If Mateus stays champion somehow, some way, we're going to get Haney versus Mateus. Bigger, stronger Haney. We're going to see how Haney fares against Ryan Garcia, first of all. Ryan's a tough guy, so we're going to see. And after Haney fights Mateus, we'll see. What's your game plan for when Haney loses his legs by round 5 and he can't distance and circle the ring? When Haney's game plan when Mateus cuts off? First of all, Mateus ain't going to cut off shit. He's not cutting off shit. Devin Haney has footwork to just befuddle Mateus. Like I said before, he steps around his opponents. He stepped around Regis Prograis. He dropped Regis Prograis because Regis Prograis couldn't see the punches he was landing. It's the punches you don't see that hurt you. I can see Haney dropping Mateus a couple of times, just the speed of his punches and the fact that he has more power at 147 and he's a bigger guy. I'm interested to see how he fares against Ryan Garcia, what he does to Ryan Garcia. What he does to Ryan Garcia is going to be interesting because that's going to tell you what kind of beast he is. Because it's not just a Devin Haney that can box now. Just like Terrence Crawford. When Terrence Crawford came up to super lightweight, he started getting mean and vicious. He started dropping guys, and he started beating up guys, and then he started stopping guys. And Devin Haney's coming into his man strength. So y'all going to be in some problems when he starts to drop and hurt and stop guys. Because next, now y'all can't say he pillow-fisted. Now y'all can't say nothing. And now y'all wondering how Tank going to deal with Devin Haney. In fact, y'all started making excuses already. Y'all Tank fans. Y'all talking about Devin Haney too big for Tank. You know why y'all saying that? Because he dropped Regis Prograis. People don't drop Regis Prograis. People don't drop Regis Prograis. It was a big, strong 140-pounder that came down from 147 that dropped Regis Prograis. And he put a beating on that dude afterwards. He didn't drop him after that. Devin Haney repeatedly hurt Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis got respect for Devin Haney. He ain't calling him no pillow punching no more. And Mateus is not nowhere near the kind of fighter that Regis Prograis is. He don't even have quick twitch muscles. He's not even quick enough to keep up with Devin Haney. Man, Devin Haney would carve that dude up. I would love to see it. I'm gonna tell you right now, Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, they beat the brakes off of Subriel Matias. They beat his ass up. Because Tszyu not good at going and chasing down fighters and getting to them and beating them up. Okay, he's not. We've seen it against Jermaine Taylor. Jermaine Ortiz. We've seen it against Sandor Martin. Right. We've seen it even against George Kambosos. So if you got a little footwork in your feet and you can move around the ring a bit, and and you're not old like Loma, you can beat Tszyu. Okay, you can give him a lot of trouble. But if a fighter's coming to Tszyu, that's his thing. That's his thing. That's where his power, that's where his skills, that's where his maneuverability, that's where his counterpunching ability, that's where his defense comes into play. And he has a ball with your ass. Okay, I got Tszyu beating the crap out of Subriel Matias and taking his title from him. And I got Devin Haney making Matias be confused as shit. In the meantime, taking a whole set of pepper punches. And I think the accumulation of punishment with Matias not being able to do anything against Devin Haney will break him. He gonna try all the way up to 12. If he makes it to 12. But Devin Haney's stronger and everything, man, he would, man. But the fight that's competitive for Subriel Matias, the fight that would make sense, the most sense to me, is Subriel Matias taking on Pitbull Cruz. That fight is going to be a competitive fight. Okay? Because both guys bring it. Both guys, Pitbull got better defense, though. So, But Matias is a bad boy. Nobody's saying no. He's a bad boy for certain people. Like maybe he'd be bad for Richardson Hitchens, on the come up. Not enough experience, Matias is because dangerous with his jab. He ain't got no jab, bro. You fooling yourself. Ability to cut off the ring. He cut off the ring against slower fighters that stand in front of him. And his infighting being dangerous in the clinch. He all right in the clinch. He throw punches. He has heavy hands. Matias knows how to reach his opponents because he knows how to cut off the ring. Nah, he ain't know how to cut off the ring. Not against elite. But he ain't get you. Who has he faced to say he cut off the ring against? Name the elite opponent he has faced who he's cut off the ring against. He ain't faced nobody. Y'all hyping this dude up. He ain't faced nobody. Haney has no size advantage against Matias. I don't know about that. Haney's a big dude. Matias will bully him to the hospital. Easy work. Unconventional pressure fighters beat boxers with no power. I don't know why you're calling him unconventional. He's a pressure fighter. That's it. If that's the case, then Gustavo Levos is an unconventional pressure fighter. No, pressure fighters are pressure fighters. They do what they do. I'm not saying that that Subriel Matias don't have no defense in terms of he has some kind of defense. He uses a high guard. Some shots go through. But what happens is some fighters empty their load on him early, like Ergashev. Ergashev emptied his load on him early, thinking he could get him out of there with his power. You don't do them kind of stupid stuff. You size up your fighter. And again, Ergashev showed me he's not really a defensive fighter. When push comes to shove, he ain't got no defense. He getting hit with everything. You know what I mean? And Liam Parrow, I don't think Liam Parrow. See, Liam Parrow, depending on his straight left, that's his power. Like Ergashev. Ergashev was more varied than Liam Parrow. Liam Parrow needs to depend on his footwork to get the shots off and catch Subriel Matias with shots where Subriel Matias cannot return fire. That's the key. You got to hit a guy with something, and he mustn't be able to get you back. You must start to emotionally and mentally drain a guy. He got to feel like he always hitting air or he's hitting arms. He not getting the target. You got to make the target elusive. At the same time, you have to be able to launch your offense and make him feel. Every time he try to throw something, you got to make him pay. You got to make him pay for every time he think he going to be aggressive. You have to discipline his ass. So he can't throw as many punches as he wants to. And Mateus is a guy he would take to throw. Yeah, sure, no problem. But when he throws, he mustn't be rewarded. He mustn't land nothing. Whole fight mustn't land nothing. The same thing Bivol is going to do to Beterbiev. Beterbiev is going to be swinging that air, arms, and he's going to just be peppered whole night. Going to break him. See, y'all always talking about knockouts. There's a way to punish a fighter. You look at Shakur Stevenson, he's nasty with it. He's sharp with his shots. Okay, there's a reason why Edwin De Los Santos didn't land a whole set of punches, besides the fact that Shakur wasn't even in range to be punched. Whenever he was very sharp with his shots, making Edwin hesitate. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your mindset is. You may be wanting to be the underdog and just pursuing. If I hit you with a stiff jab, you have to reset. And the problem with Mateus is he's going to be resetting all night long because he has to plan to throw. Has to. Mateus, when you signed to fight Mateus, it's akin to walking up to the gate and say, bruh, you just a fan. You just talking like a fan. All of this don't mean shit for a boxer. A boxer ain't looking at Mateus like that. That's how you look at Mateus. Bro, that's how you look at Mateus. A boxer don't look at it. He's like, yeah, he's strong. He's strong. He got good punching power, good genetics. But he can't box. He not a boxer. I'm a boxer. You get what I'm saying? They're looking at him like food. This is food. Sure, I would like to have a fight with this dude. Don't price yourself out now. And don't try and withdraw out the fight. Let's do the negotiations. He food. He's easy work. Tszyu harder work than him. Haney versus Tszyu is a harder fight than Haney versus Mateus. And Tszyu versus Mateus is a perfect fight for Tszyu. Mateus is made for Tszyu. Mateus is made for Devin Haney. Cruz versus Haney is a harder fight because Cruz is coming from underneath, up top. He's short. It's hard to deal with shorter fighters like that, right? Cruz versus Lopez is actually an easy fight for Lopez. A harder fight than Mateus, but an easy fight for Lopez because Lopez likes guys coming to him. He specializes in countering guys. So he loved Isaac Cruz coming to him. Devin Haney would have more difficulty because Cruz is coming from low to high. He coming from low to high. So that'll be an interesting fight. Haney versus Cruz. Tszyu would have an easier time. Styles make fights. Tszyu would have an easier time with Cruz because Tszyu cater for that. He catered for you closing the distance to come at it. Tszyu would love a Subriel Mateus fight because that's the fight he wants. He wants you to come to him so he can show all his counter-punching skills. So y'all need to at least understand the styles in boxing, man. Here we go. Haney don't have a chin, the heart, the punching power. I'm tired of hearing these narratives in boxing. Okay? Because none of the evidence supports what you say. If he don't have a chin, why hasn't he touched the canvas? If he don't have a heart, how is it that he made 12 rounds with Lomachenko? How is it he came out at a fight with Jorge Linares, fighting him to the end, even after he got hurt by Jorge Linares? If he don't have a heart, why is he doing that? He should have quit. And he don't have punching power, but he dropped Regis Prograis. I mean, none of the evidence supports what you say. Why are you talking? Like, I don't understand. Help me understand, you guys. You realize Mateus has the highest volume punching at 140, which means what? Ricky Hatton had the highest volume punching when he faced Floyd. didn't mean what that really mean. Ricky Hatton stopped Jose Luis Castillo. Floyd never stopped Jose Luis Castillo. What I mean, you're going to use the triangular theory? It don't work. Arthur Berterbi has been knocking high, 100% knockout ratio. What that mean? It means absolutely nothing. It means nothing. We saw on the 154-pound division, we saw what's the guy name? Boachuk. We saw Boachuk take on what was his name? Brian Mendoza. Right? We saw Sergey Boachuk take on Brian Mendoza. Sergey Boachuk had 100% knockout ratio. Against who, though? Against who? When he faced Brian Mendoza, yeah, he won the fight, but his knockout streak over. You know why? Because styles make fights. And the heart of a fighter makes a difference. Haney can't handle the volume fighters because his style. That's bullshit. He handled Lomachenko, volume fighter. He handled Kambosos, volume fighter. What are you talking about? None of this is true. None of what you're saying is true. I can easily quote examples of fighters who are volume fighters who either not the volume fighters they usually are against Devin Haney, or he just beat them. He whitewashed them. You're saying things that don't make no sense, man. Haney's scared to even tweet post about Mateus. Bro, he just said he was facing Mateus. The Haney's you're repeating yourself, brother. You're making no points. Haney hasn't stopped anyone in 5 years. Which means what, bro? That means absolutely nothing. 30-year-old Linares had Haney doing the skanky leg. Yeah, when he was 22, 23. He's not that anymore. Mateus is a high-volume puncher with a jab, knows how to cut off the ring. That means nothing. And no, he don't have no jab. Haney wouldn't last 6 rounds against. Bro, you just talking. Y'all just talk. What is wrong with y'all? Like, I really want to have a discussion where people reason. I already debunked this nonsense, and you're just repeating yourself. You're repeating yourself, bro. You're repeating yourself, bro. You're just repeating yourself. Mateus has a high guard and shell defense. That means nothing. Nothing. He gets hit. He gets hit all the time. He risked himself going to the body, not returning his right hand to his face. This happened against Linares and Diaz. What do you expect? You got to sell out if you want to go to the body. You're doing like people don't get hit in boxing. Mateus gets hit in boxing in one fight more than Devin Haney got in his entire career. What the hell are you talking about, bro? Mateus' jab alone would hurt Haney. Jab? He ain't got no damn jab. Stop the nonsense. Stop the cap. Plus, Haney is a feather-fisted. Bro, you saying the same nonsense over and over and over again, like you're brain dead or something. This is the thing that annoys me about fans, and sometimes I lose my patience when somebody say the same thing over and over and over and over and over because they got no points. None. They got these empty, hollow points from people who never boxed before. They know nothing about boxing. They keep on talking out their ignorance. They keep on emphasizing hollow points that have nothing to do with facts. You just repeated yourself now for the 5th or 6th or 7th time. And we're trying to reason. I already debunked all of this nonsense that you're talking. Like, I'm talking to you, and I'm realizing this guy made me waste 30 minutes on him. And he just keeps on typing the same nonsense. He has nothing new. Mateus don't have a great jab because guess what? Mateus don't really jab. Y'all don't even know what a good jab is. Y'all don't know what a good jab is. Like, what is going on with boxing, man? We have these fans that just open their mouths and vomit out stuff, ignorant stuff. And it's annoying, you know? You don't know boxing. You clearly don't know boxing. Why are you talking on it? Why are you talking on it? Oh man, this fan has so much to say. This fan has so much to say, and he's saying absolutely nothing. It's something I've already dealt with 30 minutes ago. This fan had a lot to say and nothing to say. He said a whole lot of nothing. A whole lot of nothing. Because none of it is factual. Right? Super Mateus is a strong-willed guy. He's a guy that's got guts. He's willing to take one, to give one. He throws his body to head punches. He tries to find the gaps in spaces. He's not particularly good at defense. Flat-footed as hell. And this is the guy you say that Devin Haney's afraid to fight because he's Puerto Rican and you're probably Puerto Rican, and so you're trying to back your fighter? That's the basis of your banter with me, your talk with me, your supposed discussion with me, yet you stonewall all the major points I just made? Being insincere, repeating yourself over and over again, feeling that if you could keep on repeating yourself over and over again, someday it'll become true. You know, the kind of people that do that, they're people without ideas, people without vision, people who parrot something, they find information, they put it together from different sources, and they parrot it out. Not people who think for themselves, not people who are interested in learning boxing. And this channel has been here to increase the literacy of fans, not to keep illiterate fans like yourself, and you are illiterate as hell as a fan, not illiterate fans like yourself from spewing falsehoods, from spewing stuff that obviously make no sense to anybody who understands the sport of boxing, but also to confuse the narrative with people who do not know boxing. Some of the casual fans out there who really don't know anything about boxing and get carried away with seeing an action-packed fighter in an action-packed fight and think that's something going on there because it appeals to the primal instincts of people and think boxing has to be that way for fights to be entertaining. And we're trying to change that narrative. We're trying to show people how much of a chess match boxing really is, how beautiful it can be, the strategies and the tactics, just like in any other sport out here. I almost got mad. I almost cursed. Any other sport out here. If you're looking at football, there's strategy, Yeah, sorry about that. Power outage happened, and for at least for a minute, there was nothing there. So yeah, as I said before, every other sport has strategy. You have to have strategy. You have to have a game plan, and for us to be able to really enjoy the sport of boxing, you have to understand the game plans that people are doing. You know what I'm saying? So, like when you're talking about baseball, you're talking about basketball, there's a game plan, right? You might have individual players who highlight, but they're running plays, you're running game plans, you're running golf. Every single sport has a game plan, all right? And same thing with boxing. Boxing has a game plan. You have to know what's the game plan that the fighters have. Are they implementing their game plans? That's why sometimes you see, in very simplified ways, people talking about, you have the commentators talking about um, 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 keys to victory, right? You see keys to victory in the corner, keys to victory over here. It's because there must be a game plan. You understand? There got to be a game plan out there. If you don't have a game plan, then it makes no sense, right? So if you can't understand the beauty of boxing, those of you never went in the gym, or those of you just never bothered to learn anything in the sport of boxing whatsoever, you just go and watch boxing fights. Some people have boxed when they were younger. Some people, again, they have a little bit of limited experience in boxing in terms of maybe judging fights or whatever. But even so, you have to be able to understand what they're doing in there. It's not just they're just flinging punches because they want to fling punches. It's not because they're just seeing targets there and they're trying to go after targets. It's a lot more than that, And unfortunately, we have words like runners and running in the boxing ring. I'm not saying some people don't run in the boxing ring. I'm not saying some people don't fight scared of other opponents. But that is sort of something where you could see it, because the punches they're throwing are not effective punches, right? Because again, in boxing, just like in chess, every play and every move there's a reason you're going to do it. Whether it's because you want to be defensive and you actually want to stay away from your opponent, stay as far away from your opponent as possible, or it is some other reason. You're setting up another punch, or you're controlling your opponent, or you're tricking your opponent into a trap, or you're actually setting up another shot with the shot you're using, So, there's many different reasons for different things happening in the boxing ring. And if you don't understand that, and you fundamentally don't understand it, and you don't fundamentally understand what a style is, what style this guy's bringing, and then more specifically, what is his specific style? What does he do very well? If you don't understand those things and you're just talking generically, you're going to lump a lot of things together, sometimes things that the fighter doesn't even do or is capable of doing, and as such, you have to understand the dimensions of a fighter. If a short fighter is not going to be a jabber, why would he be a jabber? Oh, he needs to jab his way in the inside. No, if he's short, he should use his size to his advantage, his quickness to his advantage. You're short, you can get under shots easy. Get under shots, and you can get up under a fighter easy. I don't need to jab my way in. I can just bob and weave my way in. I can slip and slide my way in. So there's a lot of things that people, oh, he needed to jab. No, certain fighters do not need to jab. Certain fighters, again, it's to their benefit to jab. Some people jab to get their way in so they can fight on the inside. Some people jab to maintain distance and range. Some people jab to get fighters to come in to them so that they can fight them with the fighter coming to them. There are different reasons people jab for different things. I have jab to blind you. I could jab to occupy you. I could jab so that you don't jab, right? I could jab so that I can set up my hook on my right hand or my left hand, depending on what is my power hand. So there are different reasons to even jab, and there are different kinds of jab. So as you get more and more into boxing, you begin, or the door opens up, and then you start to see, like a video game, how many options you have and how big this thing is and how many different ways to do it. And depending on your personality, depending on your constitution, how you are, you will fight in a certain style with a certain tendency over another style with another tendency. All right. So there's a lot to boxing, man. And that's what makes the sport beautiful. That's why I say boxing is beautiful. It's not because, and then you have to have the discipline, because if you shortchange anything, you're shortchanging yourself. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. I'm what you need. You guys have a good one. I'm out of here. Terrence Crawford, more than likely, is not going to get fight next. The next fight, thank God, was going to be Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora 2, which I think is the fair thing to happen. So I'm glad boxing is going to get this right if it does happen that way. Probably be at the end of the year. And in the meantime, Terrence Crawford probably, I don't know what will happen with him. I think he should just try and make the fight with Errol Spence. Since Errol Spence is well enough to face Fundora, why not just have the fight with Errol Spence? Of course, they're trying to have a championship fight where, Terrence is a champion and Errol's a champion, and they meet up at 154. I hear them. But me personally, that ain't the way to go. Errol's coming off a loss. He needs to have a redeeming fight first to see where he's at. And then from there, he can go ahead and do whatever he wants. And don't tell me he wants to be in all the big fights. Nah, I disagree with that. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. I'm what you need. You guys have a good one. And remember, stop throwing insults at people. Stop trying to make yourself look like you're bigger than you really are. And stop being so partisan that you say stupid stuff. Okay? On this channel, we try to reason with each other. We try to get to the truth of a matter. We're trying to lift the sport of boxing by being straightforward and honest about the boxing. Oh, this is another thing I want to say to you guys, you fans out there. And don't tell me it can't happen, because it has happened before. And actually, that's probably why pay-per-view is not so good anymore. If there's a fight that you think doesn't deserve to happen, don't pay for it. Don't pay for it. Don't watch it. Or watch it, but don't pay for it. I tell you guys this because we have successfully boycotted one of the biggest studios in Hollywood, and Warner Brothers, speaking about restoring the Snyderverse. DC brand has just fallen to the ground because the majority of us who support DC really like Zack Snyder's movies and movies with good content. And of late, Warner Brothers has been putting out crap when it comes to DC, but we have not been supporting it. Same thing for you boxing fans out there. If you don't like what you're seeing, don't support it. It's that simple. Don't put your dollars behind it. The industry keeps on moving because of you and your money and you putting money into things. Tell this to your Mexican friends. Tell this to your Spanish friends. If you don't like Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia, I know it's an all Mexican showdown. Just don't put your money behind it. Don't put your money behind it. It's that simple. Canelo's going to respond to the dollar signs. He's going to have to listen. If the fans demand something and they're putting their dollars behind something, the fighters are going to have to acquiesce. So, if you think that Jaime Munguia doesn't deserve ahead of David Benavidez, that Canelo fight, just don't support it. Don't put your money where you don't want. Why are you paying for something you don't want? It's that simple. I'm what you need. You're watching my channel. If you like the content on what you need, if you like it, please support this channel. The link was in the chat. We're about to end the chat. The link is also in my description. Support it. Next time, I hope to have a guest on here, somebody who will talk. So let it be one of you. It doesn't have to be a boxer. It doesn't have to be somebody in the industry. You have a voice. Pop on here. Say your piece. Now, for the trolls like this guy, who's probably the same guy, this is probably the same guy, right? For the trolls on here, if you start trolling as a guest, I'm going to get you off, right? Because some of y'all don't know how to stop. Y'all troll, but you don't know how to quit. And if you troll on here and you make it bad for the fans out there, I'm going to just pull you off as a guest. So don't come trolling. Okay? Respect is a very important thing. I don't have a problem with you expressing your opinion and your likes or your dislikes or whatever. But if you come on here trolling, that is, if you come on here as a guest trolling, I can always ignore you in the chat section. But on here, I don't have time to waste with people who are trolling. Okay? Respect is very important. So if you're coming on here to troll, I'm just going to remove you as a guest. What do I mean? I'll be very specific. If we're reasoning out points and we've reasoned out everything, and you keep on repeating the same thing over and over as if we didn't reason it out before, let's just remove you, because I don't want that narrative. I don't want that negative narrative going around, which is false, which is you're just perpetrating. You're perpetrating false information, and you're repeating it, hoping that it will stay in people's heads as false narrative. That's not productive to the sport of boxing. Now, I don't have a problem with you having your view. You might ride behind your guy, Mateus, and that's all well and good. And you can say whatever you want in the chat. I might ignore some of it. Okay. But come from a factual basis. When you come from facts, when you come from truth, when you come from a place where you're reasoning out things, it's much better. Okay. Whether you agree with me or not is not so important as to agree on the facts of a matter, the truth of a matter. If you're going to come and make up stuff or come with well-played popular narratives, but you really don't have any facts to back them up or no truth to back them up, I'm gonna remove you from as a guest. All right. I don't want false narratives being perpetrated. You know, you can have your opinion. You can say it's my opinion that Mateus would beat Devin Haney, and I'll say, okay, well, why do you say that? And you can go ahead and give your explanations. I don't have to agree with them. But if the explanations are rooted in some kind of fact of any kind, then I'm willing to engage in a reasonable discussion with you. If there's no facts behind what you're saying, and you continue to say what you're saying, I'll say, well, that's your opinion, and there's nothing wrong with having your opinion. It doesn't have to be rooted in facts as an opinion. Opinion is opinion. But if you keep on repeating that opinion over and over again, I'll say, well, all right, well, I guess our discussions come to an end here. And I'll try to, as politely as possible, remove you as a guest. Okay? I'm not going to try and, but we get your opinion. So therefore, we'll just move on to somebody else. Right? All right. So that's it. I am what you need. You guys have a good day. God bless you all. Most High comes first. Bless you all.